I am not so worried about the transfer of power, economic capacity to China and India. I take note of the fact that Chinese culture, China very welcoming to Jews. All of you know that let's say in Beijing, there are 3 or 4 thriving communities. China, by the way, did try to establish a strategic relationship with Israel. They actually had a strategic relationship. They actually funded the largest, the biggest, most expensive weapon system program in the history of Israel. And it was Israel that decided to go elsewhere. However, that elsewhere includes India. India, the other big recipient of power. India is, in many respects, a strategic ally of Israel. When you get to the point where the most expensive Israeli satellite is launched by an Indian launcher, huge risk to both sides, things go well, etc. So I'm not so worried. The transfer to China and India is a problem for the Muslims. It's not a problem for the Jews. The Muslims are not especially welcome. I mean, there are plenty of Chinese Muslims, the Hui and so on, as well as the noisy Uyghurs. But the fact is that the Jews are more welcome. So what I am worried about is something else. To some slight degree, I'm worried about the issue of legitimacy. When you bomb people and they get redefined from terrorists to victims, they gain in legitimacy. We all know that, but legitimacy is a zero-sum game. When they gain, you lose. You start off with 100 little red balls of legitimacy. If 3 or 4 of them go to them, they're at your expense. I'm much more worried, however, by deterrence. I take note that the bombing of Lebanon in 2006 did completely shut up Hezbollah. Hezbollah hasn't launched even a little firework since 2006. So that cost legitimacy, but gained deterrence. Deterrence is valuable. Hamas, the same way. The bombing of Gaza cost more in legitimacy because there were more victims, but they stopped the rockets there. Things could have been, I would have used more infantry, bombed less. Infantry doesn't cost so much in legitimacy, it costs more in blood. The blood wasn't much because Hamas doesn't like to fight head on. So, but I'm really concerned about the loss of legitimacy of the Jewish people much more globally. I take note of the fact that the world's loudest anti-Semite, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, visits the world's largest, the biggest concentration of Jews in the world in New York City. The world's loudest anti-Semites goes to the city with the most Jews and nothing happens. What should have happened is that his visit should have been made a scene of terror and humiliation. Nothing happened at all. That has consequences. Seeing Ahmadinejad threaten the Jews, not just Israel, the Jews, threaten the Jews, attack the Jews, and getting away with it encouraged Erdogan, a very entrepreneurial and billionaire prime minister of Turkey, to engage in his personal campaign to erode and destroy relations between Turkey and Israel, which does involve attacking the Jews in different social ways and cultural ways. The television program, not coincidentally, that you've heard about, the television programs that depicts Israeli soldiers as Nazi, that was financed by a relative of Erdogan, nephew. Now, when Erdogan is encouraged, people like Chavez, a small-time Venezuelan semi-hoodlum, tin pot dictator, Chavez takes on the Jews. He gets away. That encourages the even more tin pot guy in Ecuador and Evo Morales in Bolivia to take on the Jews as well. Deterrence is important. When people threaten you, they're supposed to pay a price. When people say death to you, you're supposed to punish them and hit them. That's why, even though I'm not terribly impressed by the Iranian nuclear program, which I know started in 1985, 24 years ago, spent billions of dollars, and they haven't got to the stage that Israel itself got in about 6 years, spending less money than Iranians have spent on one of their 17 facilities. I'm not so impressed with the program, but I still believe that they should be bombed because they've been rude, they've been impolite. And more to the point, the because it would not be an emotional, you should never use force to vent your emotions, but because in their politics in Iran, Ahmadinejad and Khamenei keep saying, we're in no danger at all. They wouldn't dare. It's the Iranian opposition that says, you are endangering Iran by threatening the Jews. And they're saying nothing to worry about, they wouldn't dare attack us. In other words, I view the possible option of bombing Iran not in technical terms of slowing down in such a chaotic program that the bombing may even improve it. Rather, the fact that it would be contributing to the right kind of political dynamics given the rhetoric. If you've heard Ahmadinejad in Khamenei talking in Farsi in Iran, that's what they talk about. That's what they talk about. They wouldn't dare to, we're powerful and so on. So in other words, the bombing would not reinforce the government, which is the standard theorem peddled by the standard columnists. You know, you bomb somebody to reinforce, on the contrary, it would undermine them. So I think we have to worry about deterrence, the failure of deterrence, with the need to restore deterrence. When people threaten the Jews, they should suffer consequences. Not everything the anti-Semites say is true.